Shalom Aleichem, Hebrew Torah 101, and today we're going to talk about the Spirit of God, or the Holy Spirit. Is it a separate hypostasis, a person, or is it something that belongs to God, that proceeds forth from God, or, an attribute? So we're going to try to keep this short and simple. We're going to look at 3 verses. We're going to look at Ezekiel chapter 2 and verses 1 through 3, starting off. So we have here, Wayomelai ben Adam Amor al-Ralicha. And he said to me, Son of man, stand upon your feet. Now this will be God the Father, or Yahweh speaking, telling the prophet Ezekiel to stand upon his feet. Wa'andabe othach, and I will speak with you. So God is going to speak with the prophet. Watabo bi ruach, and it came unto me. Now what came to the prophet, or in the prophet? The Spirit. God shouldn't be lie, as he spoke to me. Now, in English, when we read this verse in English, it almost sounds like the Spirit is the one doing the speaking. However, we know that's not true because the word ruach, in this context is feminine, because the tav here indicated so. So it, or she, came in me, the Spirit, as God spoke to me. Now, this word diber is in the masculine. So because diber is in the masculine and ruach is in the feminine, checked here, that means that diber cannot be functioning in relation to ruach, but it has to be functioning in relation to wayomer, he said. So he spoke to me. The speaker is God himself. Wata'amideni alarai. So, and she, the Spirit, caused me to stand up upon my feet. And I heard him speaking to me. Not the Spirit, but God speaking to him. God is the one that says to him, Wahayomer Eli ben Adam. God said to him, Son of man, Sholeach ani otecha, I am sending you, Il bnei Israel, to all the sons of Israel, Il goyim hamoderim, into the rebellious nations, Asher maredu bi, which they rebelled against me. All right, so to wrap that verse up there, we see that God is the speaker, and God is using his Holy Spirit, or the Spirit of God, to enter into the prophet so that he may speak to the prophet. Not that the Spirit is another hypostasis, but something that God uses. All right, now we're in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37 and verse 1. And here we have, Hayathai lai yad Adonai. So she, or it, was upon me, the hand of Adonai. So the hand of Adonai, the form of Adonai, the face of Adonai, these type of expressions are not trying to tell us about a separate hypostasis, but they're trying to tell us something about God. Okay, so what about the hand of God being upon the prophet? Wayosieni beruach Adonai. So he brought me out by a spirit, or of God. So how do we know that the hand is not the one bringing him out? Because the hand is feminine here. Yod, third person masculine singular. He brought me, by spirit of God. So God is bringing him out by spirit with his hand placed upon the prophet. So he drove me in the midst of the valley, and it was filled with bones. So here, this was a good verse because not only did we get to talk about the Spirit again, but we talked about the hand of God. The hand of God is in the feminine, and the person that brings him out is not the hand, but the God himself. And he brings him out by way of spirit, or wind, you can say here. Doesn't really matter. So not only is the Spirit not a hypostasis, but also the hand is not a hypostasis. All right, last verse here. Like I said, I wanted to keep it short today. So we're in Judges chapter 6 and verse 34. And it says, Veruach Adonai, in the Spirit of God, La Besha, she dressed. Labash means to literally put on like his clothes, Just like I have my garment on here. The same way. So the Spirit of God dressed at Gideon. So if the Spirit is the hypostasis, then Gideon just put that hypostasis on like a jacket. Okay? So this is why we have to be careful about when we read in the biblical text and we're making things separate hypostases or whatever the case may be, because now what we begin to do is lead ourselves into idolatry in a sense. All right, we start to get away from the reading of the text and the true God of it, and we start to attribute things and persons to him that are not necessary. Shalom Aleichem.